Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to the latest edition of the We Can't Wrestle podcast, episode 263. The Maxon Brothers here with you. I'm Nate. That's Aaron.
Hello, everybody.
And we are back at it after a week off. I had to go down south, visit the wife's family, so we were out of town and didn't have the opportunity. Even if I would have tried, our hotel room had shitty Wi-Fi, so it wouldn't have worked.
You were in the hills.
Yeah, we were in the mountains, out in the mountains. But we're back. Clash of the Champions series continues this week. Clash of the Champions 18. Clash of the Champions XVIII. January 21st, 1992, Topeka, Kansas. And
I think we're officially done with the tag names or whatever you want to say.
I think you're right. Because I don't remember any. And now they've turned. I think at this point they've turned Fall Brawl into a pay-per-view. So yeah,
Not yet. That's 93.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought there was one in 92, but
You might be thinking of Wrestle War because they did the War Games.
Yeah,
Get into that.
Okay,
one of the coolest War Games ever was Sting Squadron and the Dangerous Alliance. But yeah, the Fall Brawl pay-per-view comes next year when Dusty has it's Dusty and Dustin and the Nasty Boys versus Sid. I can't remember who the other person is, and Harlem Heat.
Yeah,
it's a weird one.
It's a weird one. You're right. It's
yeah.
But yeah, before we get into this week's show, let's reference last week's show. We have our comments from our buddy on YouTube, Rigamus. And anybody else, if you want to comment, if you want to email, it's we can't wrestle at gmail.com. And of course, the comment section on YouTube will definitely read your shit on our shit for sure. Let's see here. Rigamus on last time, Clash of Champions 17 that we talked about. We were talking about Harley and that whole age thing being weird. He says Harley easily looked 10 years older than he was.
Yeah.
Lex Luger's entrance music is badass, which we've also discussed. Love that.
Yeah.
Lex Luger at WCW entrance music. Black or White is a great song. So he's all in agreement with us on a lot of this so far.
All right.
I'm gonna have to look up Lancelot Link's Secret Chimp. Never heard of it, but I trust you. I'm gonna check it out. Yeah, a lot of people. It's like sometimes
up 45 minutes of your day. It's like 15 or it's like 4 15-minute episodes.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. But I remember when I was a kid thinking it was this big series because they would play it on Nick at Night, but they were probably just playing those same 7 episodes over and over again.
Well, yeah, it's like I don't think Lancelot Link Secret Chimp was British, but it's kind of like a British show. Like in my mind, like Mr. Bean went for 5 years.
Yeah,
there's 8 episodes of
That's what I was gonna say. I thought, I was like, there's 10 episodes of it, maybe.
Yeah.
Or seasons for British shows. Like a season will just be like
they don't have seasons. They have series.
Series, yes.
Like Faulty Towers, or not Faulty Towers. Yeah, Faulty Towers with John Cleese.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the greatest, in my mind, one of the funniest sitcoms ever. It's 7 episodes.
Yeah. If I look, I bet if I look, Are You Being Served doesn't even have as many as I think it does.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, let me see. Maybe Are You Being Served? I'm trying to look here. Oh, actually, Are You Being Served did have 70 episodes. So yes, that was a longer running series.
Yeah, that's like Law and Order here. It's 20 years.
Rigamus did agree with our take on Rick.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I just thought of Mr. Bean. Do you know one of the funniest things ever is? And have you ever seen it? It was the Mr. Bean movie.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things, one of the most random funny things ever, is Mr. Bean dancing to Mr. Boombastic. Like Roland Alexander dancing to not Roland Alexander, sorry, Roland Atkinson dancing to Mr. Boombastic is so fucking funny. Which Roland Alexander
Rolex
dancing to Mr.
Alexander
Boombastic
dancing to Mr. Boombastic would be really
would
funny
be,
too.
really funny. But go ahead, sorry.
Rigamus approves of your nickname, Firebreaker Chimp. Let me see. The Lethal Lottery is a great concept, but it didn't work. I think the first Lethal Lottery was legit. Maybe I'm a mark, but from shoot interviews I've watched, the original lottery was actually a shoot, but I don't know how much of that is true. Obviously, all of the ones after the first were kayfabe.
Yeah.
We discussed the light heavyweight, the term light heavyweight instead of lightweight.
That makes no sense to me.
He says it was the light heavyweight championship because they were following boxing weight classes. The next weight class after heavyweight in boxing is light heavyweight. They wanted to sound legit, which I see what you're saying, Rigamus. But my issue is with the term light heavyweight.
Yeah, still doesn't make any sense. But fuck boxing too.
Fat skinny. Let's see here. He said, good catch. Missy did say she was going to interview Marcus Bagwell and didn't. So I didn't. It wasn't just me that missed it. It wasn't just you. Apparently she just never did, which I think is funny. It's WCW for definite, for sure. Like they say she's going to interview somebody and then they're just like, hey, we're out of time. We're not going to do that interview now.
Yeah, whatever. Or it sucked.
Even as a kid, I was confused at how PN News was over with the crowd. If you watch, the crowd was in on his raps. He didn't rap on this show, but in general, I always hated him, but he was over with the crowd, which we discussed that last week too. He said Steiner versus Luger wasn't that bad, in my opinion. I guess I was a little harsh on the match last week, but I wasn't harsh. I don't necessarily. It wasn't necessarily a bad match. It was just a letdown from what I expected.
Yeah.
Sting was my favorite wrestler as a 12-year-old, but NWA WCW presented Sting as a dumb motherfucker. He got tricked by Ric Flair and the Horsemen too many times, and then this, after the first two boxes, he's not suspicious about Medusa. Stunning Steve is greater than Stone Cold. Hot take, but I've always said that. Stone Cold was a great promo, but Stunning Steve was incredible in the ring. Stone Cold wasn't. Yeah, Stone Cold was more about the spectacle.
Yeah. If you go in ring work wise, yeah, obviously Stunning Steve's better, but I'll put Stone Cold over Stunning Steve.
Let me see here. You know, Rigamus, if Stone Cold Steve Austin saw your comment, he would say, "You are completely pathetic." And then last comment here, he says, I liked Marcus Alexander Bagwell as a 12-year-old. I thought he was going to be a star. He ended up not being very good for whatever reason. I agree with being a fan of Marcus Alexander and not Buff. All right. Thank you, Rigamus, for your comments.
Yeah.
And now we'll get back in the Wayback Machine. I have I actually have a couple of guesses. This week. One for a movie and one for a song. All actually, right. I think my song guess is the same as last week, and I was correct, but because I want to say, can we do the songs first?
Yeah, whatever you want to do, man.
I think even though we've gone from November to January, just because I remember it being such a big hit for such a long amount of time, I'm willing to guess Black or White is still in the top two songs.
It is still the number one song.
Yeah, and I just remember that one being like, it was like I will love that. Yeah, I was gonna say song. It was like that, and I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston, and End of the Road by Boys to the Men. During this time, we're all like long reigning number one songs.
Oh yeah, Black or White's still up there, and it's still one of the greatest videos of all time. Yeah. It's a great fucking video. But Boys to the Men Is it the number 2 song?
End of the road.
Nope.
Motown Philly.
Nope.
No.
Those are both Boy to the Men songs. The number 2 song is a song called All Woman by Lisa Stansfield. I don't know that fucking song.
Nope.
I have no idea. I'm assuming it's probably some. It might have been like a Bette Midler movie or something.
Yeah, I don't even really honestly recommend. Um, I don't even know the name of that Lisa Stansfield.
Yeah, I have no fucking
Yeah, I had
idea.
no idea. No idea.
Probably a bunch of ladies in mom jeans buying the CD, but I don't fucking know.
and then
But do you want to guess the movies?
I want to guess a movie.
Okay.
Thinking about this time, I want to guess that one of the top 2 movies is Wayne's World.
Nope.
Oh shit.
The top 2 movies were number 2 was Hook, which was Robin Williams' version of Peter Pan, which is a great movie.
With Dustin Hoffman as Captain Hook.
Yeah. And I like when they like blew his wig off, or whatever, and
Yeah.
that was good shit. And the number 1 movie at this time was Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Oh man, that one was like. That was one of those ones that I just remember seeing the trailer for it so many times.
Yeah. And I remember watching the movie, and it was one of those movies where like first off, Rebecca De Mornay was like the crazy chick in the movie, but it's like, oh, she's the hot one. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, the hot chick crazy, and then like it's one of those movies that like it. How do I say it? Like it's funny when like you watch a movie like that, and like when the heel dies, like after I watch the movie, I'm like, I try to think about like what it would be like when the police show up. Because now
Yeah.
the baby face still have to stand there and be like Ernie Hudson and all these other people still had to be up there and be like, oh well, this chick, she went crazy and she tried to steal my husband, and then we threw her off the roof and she fell on this thing, and it's like, okay,
Y'all had a wild night, huh?
yeah, you were still all suspects right now in this situation. But anyway, that
Yeah,
was the number 1 movie.
I know you don't watch horror movies like my wife and I do, but I always come up with that question. She's probably tired of hearing it, but I actually always bring that up at horror movies. Like at the end of a horror movie, I'm always like, yeah, when the police show up, they're gonna be like, y'all are fucking lying. Ain't no Freddy Krueger. Ain't no.
Yeah. Like, what's that movie with fucking Dennis Quaid where he's like, I know you put snakes in my boots or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the movie.
And then they throw like Ethan Hawke on like to like a spike. They have to explain that. But anyway,
that's one of the funny things about the end of Hot Fuzz is that what's his name, like he's not dead. That spike is just through his jaw. Like,
yeah. That movie does a good job at explaining everything.
It hurt so bad.
That movie does a great job at explaining everything at the end.
It does.
You and the last sheriff have one thing not in common. What's that? He had a big bushy beard.
Yeah, big bushy beard.
And like when the old man's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And all the fires around him. It's so fucking funny. But speaking of things that are funny, before we get into this clash, I just recently went through and was listening to like an audiobook of Bobby Heenan, and he was talking about his time in WCW. Okay.
Yep.
And these are two things that really cracked me up about two significant people in WCW. One is obviously very known because it's Eric Bischoff. And Eric like he talks about Eric Bischoff um, calling out Vince McMahon, for a fight.
Yes. For
And
Slamboree 98, I think.
yeah. And Bobby said the same thing that Hogan said. It's like, don't call that guy out, man, because he'll fuck you up.
He'll show
Like
up.
he'll show up and he'll kick your ass. And Bischoff was like, I'm a black belt in Taekwondo or whatever. And Bobby said, and this cracked me up because the name makes no sense because Bischoff was like a Taekwondo guy.
Yeah.
But he was like, Eric Bischoff said he's a black belt in Taekwondo. So behind his back, I just used to call him Kung Fu Charlie.
Random.
Yeah.
Oh,
Here goes
Charlie
Kung
right
Fu
here.
Charlie. Kung Fu Charlie. That shit cracked me up. Okay. Well, then he talked about Wendy Turnbuckle. Have you heard that name before?
I don't think so.
She was Bischoff, or not Bischoff, but Tony would mention her name on pay-per-views, and Zbyszko would too. She was basically their booth assistant. And she's like the one that Wendy Turnbuckle's the one that went to Tony and said, hey, Eric said that Mick's gonna win the belt. So he wants you to say that'll put a lot of butts in the seats. Like she was like the go between between like the you know what I mean?
Right.
She was basically the runner. She's Wendy Turnbuckle. And Bobby talks about Wendy Turnbuckle. And he said she had a head like Mount Rushmore. So basically she had a big rock head. And she was clumsy as shit and would spill water and then when she tried to like clean up the water, she'd unplug her headsets. Like he's just dissing this chick, in his book. And he says one day he was walking through the airport and apparently Wendy Turnbuckle was diabetic because she was laying on the ground and she stuck her diabetic needle in her ass through her jeans. And there was a Burger King croissant laying right next to her. I love the fact that he put a brand name on it and said it was a croissant. So Wendy Turnbuckle was laying on the floor of the airport, sticking a needle in her ass, and laying right next to her head is a Burger King croissant. And he said, I looked at the guy next to me and said, usually when they stick a big hog like that with a needle, they take the tusks off it after. Oh, it cracked me the fuck up. It wasn't even the tusks. It was, and laying next to her head, obviously, was a Burger King croissant. It was so specific.
Man.
Anyway, I thought Kung Fu Charlie and the Burger King croissant were pretty funny.
The most quick-witted man in the history of
Yes.
it's like fucking Bobby Heenan and Groucho Marx are the two most quick-witted men to ever be, at least on television. Yes. There might have been a quick-witted man in 1832 that I never got to see be quick-witted, but as far as television goes,
The other one I'll put on there is Letterman. Letterman's pretty quick-witted.
Yeah. Oh man.
Burger King croissant.
Well, it's 1992, so we've still got a couple of years before we get Bobby on a Clash of the Champions. But this is Clash 18, January 21st, 1992, the Kansas Expo Center in Topeka, Kansas, in attendance, according to Wikipedia, of 5,500.
Yep.
We are essentially right before, because Super Brawl's coming up, and after Super Brawl, Lex Luger will leave, not to go to the WWF, but go to the ever so wonderful and ever so successful WBF. And he's going to make an appearance on WrestleMania and drink milk and all that, this and that for. But right now, he's still the WCW champion. He's got probably about a month left in WCW before he's out of there.
Yeah.
WBF. WBF is the reason that I know the name Gary Stridham. If it wasn't for the WBF, I'd never know a bodybuilder's name if it wasn't for the fact that it crisscrossed with my wrestling back in the day.
Yeah. If we could find the run of it, that might be a fun thing to do as well. Let's just review the run of the WBF.
Body Stars. Mm. Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone introduced the show. I put down here, it's a sad day because Tony's hair is no longer actually a bouffant.
No, it's not bouffanted. It's not bouffanted anymore.
It's just a hairdo now.
It's just a guy's hair now.
Yeah. So the bouffant has expired.
We brought you some posies, but they've expired.
I hate your guts. Eric Bischoff and Missy Hyatt are going to be on the interviews. They both look. Yes. Eric looks nice and plastic here. Nice and plastic.
And so does Missy.
Was it Scott Hall or Kevin Nash that initially called him a Ken doll lookalike on TV? Because they weren't wrong.
It was Nash.
Like, I watch him back in this era, and I'm like, man, that Ken doll lookalike thing was actually a lot more accurate than I gave him credit for back in the day.
Yeah. But hate him what you want. Like, hate him all you want, I should have said. But at that time, that's what you wanted your...
Yeah. I mean, you look like a fucking
game. Look like.
You look like a fucking sports announcer or a game show host. Yeah, yeah. I'm not knocking. I'm just saying, like, there are times that I watch this older stuff and I see how he presented himself and how he carried himself, and I do think it's like, man, he's like this. Yeah, he looks like a Ken doll, you know. And like you said, I mean, a lot of broadcasters then did.
How's Bischoff look any more whatever than like Sean Mooney or Todd Pettengill?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Especially Mooney. Pettengill would, you know, like on Mania and stuff, he would dress in like goofy clothes or whatever, but yeah, Eric Bischoff and Missy Hyatt are going to be doing the interviews as they tell us on the ramp. In the first match, I was actually pleasantly surprised because I forgot this match ever even existed. Because I haven't watched this in a long old time. It's Big Van Vader and Mr. Hughes, along with Harley Race, versus the Steiner brothers.
Yeah,
I like the fact that Hughes knew his assignment in this match.
I agree.
His assignment was to get thrown around by Scott Steiner.
Yeah, and Vader, it was a way to get Vader on the show, so people could see him, and he didn't get beat up, you know.
Yeah,
and I don't have a lot of these matches I don't have a lot of notes for because pretty much other than one match, every match is pretty good on the show. But from like 89 to like 93, we've talked about it, the Steiners were the best team in pro wrestling, in my opinion. And one of my notes was early in it, I was like, I'm trying to decide if Mr. Hughes actually sucked or not.
Mr. Hughes,
But
Mr.
like
Hughes,
watching this, I'm like, I don't think he was as bad as I thought he was.
no, he was very circumstantial in that he could be a good worker if he was working with other good workers or if he was allowed to work that kind of style. But because of his size and everything, he didn't very often get matched up with really good wrestlers. He got matched up with, fellow monsters or whatever. The other thing I'll say about the Steiners thing, they are without you're absolutely right. They are without a doubt from 89 to 93 the best tag team in WCW for sure. I don't know. I don't know. I have trouble with this era deciding between the Steiners and the Hart Foundation though. Whether they're the best tag team, my favorite tag team in wrestling at the time. But Steiners
I honestly would go Steiners because I actually like if you broke those two teams down, like I think, and I'm not a fan of Jim Neidhart,
right?
But I'd say Brett and Scott would be your equivalent, and then you'd put Rick and Neidhart as your equivalent, and I'd pick Rick over Neidhart.
Right, I see what you're saying, and also I guess I can see what you're saying too. In that, if we're talking 89 to 93, the Hart. I guess I'm in my time when I'm thinking the Hart Foundation isn't actually together a lot during that time. Like there's a couple times where they split them up. And then eventually Brett's just singles because after the Intercontinental title win in 91. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm hearkening back with my love of the Hart Foundation. But when you break down the time frame you mentioned, I guess you're right. It's probably the Steiners. But I still love the Hart Foundation. Anyway.
Okay. I love the Hart Foundation too. But this is a pretty solid match. And I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and like I said, pretty much like Aaron said, a lot of these matches I don't have a lot of notes for because either the match was good and I was just watching the match, or the ones that stunk were actually kept pretty short. Vader essentially, Mr. Hughes is I think holding Scotty Rick. No, he's holding Scott for Vader, and they do the old spot where the face ducks, the one heel hits the other heel by accident, so Vader accidentally knocks down Hughes. He winds up rolling out of the ring with Scott Steiner, and then Rick Steiner bulldogs Hughes off the top rope for the victory. And again, pretty good 10-minute tag team match, and did everything it needed to do.
Yep.
The next match. Why does it have to be Young Pistol Tracy and the Tailor-Made Man? The WCW gimmicks. It's like I always say, I know WWF was a cartoon, but somehow WWF made it work. They knew what to do. They knew how to make that cartoon work. These gimmicks are stupid. The names are stupid. The wrestlers are great. But anyway, when I wrote it down, I was like, Young Pistol Tracy and the Tailor-Made Man. Oof.
Yeah, why couldn't it just be Tracy's brother from Terry Taylor?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the Tailor-Made Man isn't like a bad gimmick.
But it should be in quotations, and then you should still call him Terry Taylor.
Yeah.
Like they should just be the Tailor-Made Man.
Yeah, and if Steve Armstrong or is it Steve, right?
Steve Armstrong. Well, Tracy Smothers is the partner in this match, but
Well, that's what I'm saying, but Steve left.
mm-hmm.
So Steve's gonna just
Oh, is he
call him.
gone at this point?
Well, he's teaming with the Tailor-Made Man, so I would assume
But
so.
well, I didn't know if maybe Steve was just injured. But if he is
No, he's gone.
if he is gone, then yeah, calling him Young Pistol Tracy is even dumber.
Yeah, just call him the Young Pistol Tracy Smothers. If you want to even call him the Young Pistol,
Yeah.
yeah.
So their opponents are Flying Brian and Marcus Alexander Bagwell.
I don't have a lot of notes on it other than the fact that Pillman and Taylor started off at a great pace, and the four guys keep it up throughout the match. The Like I said, I don't have a lot of notes, but sometimes when I watch these matches, I think of questions,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and um, the one question I had out of it is, do you think if not even just like a WWF or a WWE Hall of Fame, just Hall of Fame in general, do you think Pillman had a Hall of Fame career? Like, should he be inducted at some point?
I think so. I think so. I think that I mean, definitely mostly for his WCW work because he didn't get to work in the WWF very much at all. But man, that's a tough question. I think so. it his career was
Yeah.
obviously much shorter. I think if in his lifetime, if I can say in his lifetime, the career that he did get to have, he didn't have a Hall of Fame career. I think that if he would have lived, he would have had a Hall of Fame career because what he did have was at least the beginnings of one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then the other harder question is, which Pillman is the better Pillman?
I
Is
like
it
this.
the
I like
is
this
it the loose
Pillman.
cannon Pillman or the Cincinnati Bengals
I
flying
like
his
I like
ass through
I
the
like
air Pillman?
I like this Pillman for a couple of reasons. First, you go into the injury stuff when we talk about injuries, changing someone's style and everything, but it is what it is. First, the style. He's more fun to watch in the ring. Second, as much as I like loose cannon Brian Pillman, there are times where loose cannon Brian Pillman is more annoying than it is controversial, if that makes sense. I don't know if what I'm trying to say even make like some of it seems so like come on. It's anyway, I don't even know how to say what I'm describing, but I prefer Flying Brian, I guess I'll say.
All right.
And then I get to or because there's actually three Pillmans. There's like Flying Brian, then there's the Pillman in the Hollywood Blondes, and then there's
It's a
crazy loose
to me
cannon.
that's still Fly Brian.
Well, all right. Yeah. I still
Just
think I
later on
choose.
we're gonna
I
because
still think I choose this iteration of Brian Pillman.
all right. 'Cause we're still like we're gonna go to one thing and we're gonna get the early glimpses of Hollywood blonde Brian Pillman here in a minute.
Maybe he didn't have a Hall of Fame career. I don't know. You put me on the spot with that one. I don't know what my answer is. Just because I really like the guy. When you really like somebody, you want to be like, yeah, of course he had a Hall of Fame career. But then when you really like That's why I love doing our Hall of Fame, because when we do our Hall of Fame every year, that's my jam sandwich. I get so into that shit, like overthinking everything, and like, he didn't accomplish as much as I think he did, or am I being nostalgic instead of think? You know what I mean? Am I thinking with my heart instead of my head? So I don't know. I'll get back to you on Pillman.
All right.
It's funny because I'm glad you actually asked me that question, because my only note for this was decent tag match. Bagwell pins Tracy.
Yeah, Bagwell pins Tracy with a sunset flip. And then we go into footage of Jushin Thunder Liger, and also hyping, and I wrote in this in my notes, what will be one of the greatest what will be one of the greatest matches of the 90s, and also one of the greatest pay-per-view matches of all time. We don't know who it's going to be yet, but they're saying Jushin Thunder Liger is going to defend the light heavyweight championship against somebody at Super Brawl 2. Eventually, we're going to find out it's Brian Pillman, and then they're going to have that match. And it is a match that, if nobody was alive at the time, they won't realize that once you finally saw that match in its entirety, you were just like, what the fuck was that?
I actually had, at one point, I think it was before we did, you know, when we do those PWI 500 series, so it takes like 10 weeks.
Yeah.
I think I have it. I think it's in this notebook. Before we decided to do one of those a while back, I had an idea for a show, and I said, take 10 matches. If you're going to sit down with a non-wrestling fan and make a mixtape of 10 matches that they have to watch to show them why.
We did that a couple years back.
Did we really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
show a non-wrestling fan like 5 things or whatever.
Then I must have rehashed it in my head, because I wrote down a mixtape of 10 matches but the reason I'm saying that is because this match was on my mixtape, the Pillman Liger match.
The only reason I remember that is because when it was, Kyle was a regular when we did it, and one of the things that, like, show a non-wrestling fan this, and like, you guys, not knocking you guys, but like, you guys put like the Hell in the Cell, Foley, Taker, and that was on mine. But like, one of the things I put on mine was, and you both were like, "Oh, I didn't even think about that. That was a good idea." Was Waller Kaufman on Letterman. That's the only reason I remember that. But yeah, like, this match, and it's like, I'd put this match on my mixtape. I'd put Lawler Kaufman on there. And then another thing I'd put on there, and I think it was like probably the precursor to it, would be like showing somebody Dynamite Tiger Mask in Madison Square Garden. You know what I mean? Like, they did that in what, like 83, 82, 83, right?
It was 80. It was either 81 or 82.
Okay. So now we're like 10 years later, and I know we're not talking about that show, but we're getting to it, and they're setting this up. I think that's like our generation, like our 10-year-old kid watching that match. You know what I mean? That makes sense.
So you have a better memory than I do. I just went and looked. Wrestling Mixtape, episode 50. It was from September 17th, 2018.
Okay.
was a long old time ago.
I just
Okay.
remember me going Letterman, Lawler, and Kaufman. You both were like, "What the fuck? We didn't even think of that."
Yeah, essentially,
That's the most realistic wrestling angle of all time.
it's we provide you with what would be our essential wrestling mixtape. So yeah, apparently I thought of it again 7 years later. And anyway,
We'll do a wrestling Spotify.
yeah, wrestling Spotify playlist, wrestling YouTube playlist.
Oh, I have it. Came from YouTube. I've saved like 7 things I found on YouTube, and we're gonna do after this fiasco we're doing now.
The next matchup on this show, there's again we've had a constant talk here about the light heavyweight division. So it's a light heavyweight division match. It's Richard Morton. They're still calling him Richard.
That's a dud.
Versus Johnny B. Bad, and there's something that I wrote down about this, and everybody knows Ricky Morton is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Ricky Morton is apparently, honestly, not an all tool player because he does not work well as a heel. He's not. He doesn't. And you can blame his opponent all you want, Johnny B. Bad, whatever. I know you don't like Johnny B. Bad. But every time I've seen Ricky in this run, he just doesn't. It's just not his. It's not his jam. He just doesn't work well. He can't work as a heel really well. He works. He's one of the best babyface workers of all time.
I almost made like a Bix noise there where I went, but if this would have been face Ricky Morton versus heel Johnny B. Bad, it probably would have been good. But I literally put like, this is officially where I stopped caring about Johnny B. Bad and didn't like him. Like, face Johnny B. Bad is basically face Doink for me. Like, I like heel Johnny B. Bad, where he's got the kick gun makeup. He's like, "You big old bear, I'm so pretty it should be legal," and all that shit, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's like, how do I say it?
You like heel Johnny B. Bad.
Well, yeah, but I'm trying to like put it in the aspect of, you like exotic Adrian Adonis, right?
Adrian Adonis or Adrian Street?
Exotic Adrian Adonis.
Oh, okay. So
Adrian Adonis.
Okay, fat Adrian Adonis. Okay. Well, you said exotic, and when I hear exotic, I think of Adrian Street, not Adrian Adonis.
Okay,
but go ahead.
Adrian Adonis.
Okay.
Like Adrian Adonis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want babyface queer Adrian Adonis?
No. For that matter, I don't like Adrian Street when he's a face either.
Okay.
Like in Continental, they tried to use him as a face, and then in GWF, they tried to use him as a face, and for some reason, it just doesn't work for me. I like Adrian Street better as a bad guy.
Yeah, it's like I'd almost prefer the. I said queer. I'm sorry. So if I said I'm sorry, but it's like I'd almost prefer a feminine character to be heel tough than babyface tough.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I totally see what you're saying. Because I think you actually like heel Mark Marrow in WWF too, right? The Attitude Era.
Yeah.
So you like Mark Marrow as a heel?
Yeah, he's a better heel. And then when you look at him when he's marvelous Mark Marrow, it's like, he's got a punchable face, and he worked better with Jackie. Yeah, it's like, I hate babyface anything babyface, Johnny B. Bad, Mark Barrows fucking sucked.
Well, like Aaron said, this match kind of stunk, but luckily they kept it short. Richard Morton goes for a high crossbody. Johnny B. Bad rolls him over into a pinning predicament, gets the win over Richard Morton. The next thing, I actually dug this.
It was the first glimpse of heel Brian Pillman.
Yeah. Eric Bischoff is interviewing Brian Pillman and Johnny B. Bad because, again, we're discussing the light heavyweight division and the light heavyweight championship match coming up at Super Brawl. Jushin Liger's coming back to the States, blah, blah, blah. As Pillman is trying to be serious and cut a serious promo, Johnny B. Bad is, shaking himself and giving the big smiles and making his silly expressions, and he puts the lips, the kiss that don't miss on Eric Bischoff's cheek, and then he's kind of like, I don't know. But you can tell Pillman's getting annoyed with him. And then he puts the stupid lips on Pillman's cheek, and Pillman says, "Kiss this," and
punches him.
And I actually like Johnny B. Bad's reaction too, because he doesn't fall all the way down. He just hits his ass. He falls down into a sitting position. He's kind of stunned.
Like, well, suffer succotash. Kiss my grits.
Butter my bread.
Butter my biscuit. But what I was saying with like Pillman was like, I was like 92, but him almost being like, if these Japs came and took our jabs, you know what I mean? It's like, at the time, it was kind of still, the crowd might have taken it as like a babyface promo, but like his delivery, you're looking at it and you're like, this guy can be a heel.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think they kind of toy with it. They kind of toy with it until later on with the thing with Brad Armstrong. Like, I don't think if I'm right, he doesn't go full heel until the deal with Brad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
The next thing is fucking terrible.
Oh yeah, the next match on this show stinks. It is Diamond Dallas Page versus PN News. Yep, it's just as bad as it sounds like it is.
PN News wins. All right, what's next?
I wrote down here. No, I had to write something down. Jim Ross says, PN News is the WCW Magazine Rookie of the Year. Yeah.
Fuck him.
Yeah, but this match stinks. PN News wins. This looked like, I don't know, like Aaron and I aren't workers, and I think we might have been able to have a better match. And I don't say that a lot because I'm not a worker. That's why this is called the We Can't Wrestle podcast. But this was pretty bad for a nationally televised wrestling match. Then we get the WCW Top 10.
Like, fuck DDP and the pig he rode in on. And that pig was PN News.
Number 10 in the top 10, Larry Zbyszko.
The Cruncher.
Number 9, El Gigante. Number 8, Big Van Vader. Number 7, Dustin Rhodes. Number 6 is Cactus Jack. And they spelled Truth or Consequences wrong. It says Truth or Consequences. They actually spelled Pittsburgh wrong too. 5, Rick Steiner. 4, Ricky Steamboat. 3, Stunning Steve, the TV champion. Number 2 is Sting. Number 1, of course, is Ravishing Rick Rude because he's the United States champion. And the WCW World Heavyweight Champion, Lex Luger. All right, now we get to the guy that I talked about last week. I wasn't sure last time if he was in charge yet or not. Now he is in charge. Kip Allen Fry. Tony Schiavone introduces the guy. It's always so funny in WCW because since WCW is part of the Turner organization, the people in charge, the people in charge at like the WWF are like wrestling people. The people in charge at WCW are like your district manager or your regional vice president at your retail company.
Yeah, they're. Yeah,
Thank you,
like, oh.
Tony. It's glad to be here in World Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, like it's like K. Allen Fry. He looks like he looks like a bad guy from like an '80s like stock broker movie or whatever. But one thing K. Allen Fry did.
He's trying to swindle Michael Douglas.
Yeah. But one thing K. Allen Fry did that was good was, and he's on Saturday Night a few times too, was he never like tried to do like what Jim Herd did, where he tried to be like the wrestle like announce the wrestling shit. Like he would just be like in this thing, he was like, the world champion Lex Luger has signed the contract,
Mm-hmm.
and then he goes, and the guy that's gonna introduce the match, or the guy that's gonna call the match is Jesse Ventura. Not to spoil anything. And then he brings out Jesse Ventura. And then he goes, Tony, go ahead and you let everybody know who's Lex Luger facing. Like he didn't try to, how do I say it? Like,
he didn't try to hot dog. He didn't try to be the focus of attention.
Yeah. Like him introducing Jesse Ventura was a thing because like corporate people are going to know the name Jesse Ventura.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they're not going to know Sting. Like, let's let Tony do that. Like, let the wrestling person do that. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. No, anyway. Totally. And then we get to see, like you said, Tony, or they introduced Jesse Ventura, who's making his debut in WCW. Tony Schiavone introduces Sting to be the #1 contender for Super Bowl, like Aaron said. And then we get pre-recorded comments from Lex Luger talking about how people are talking about the champion's been secluded. And I don't know for a fact. I really don't. But I've always wondered because, like I said, after Super Bowl, he's done. Super Bowl is his last night. He drops the title. He's out. I always wonder because they did have like a month and a half where he wasn't actually wrestling on TV. And they were doing like this secluded champion thing. And I always wonder if that had to do with like, did he only have so many appearances? Like, did he only have one appearance left on his contract or something? Like as far as a wrestling appearance goes, I don't know for sure. I have no idea, but it just seems that way.
I don't think he did because that's the whole reason that they had to put him in WB. Well, it might have. The whole reason they had to have him be in the body, like the World Body Stars thing or whatever, was because he couldn't. He had like the no compete with WCW when he went to WWF.
See, I always thought they actually literally did hire him to be in WBF. Like he was not gonna wrestle anymore, or he didn't want to. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Like originally, I always thought that the intention was that he wanted to do bodybuilding instead of wrestling. I'll look it up. I'll get into the torches and see if I can. But and that's even fucking dirt sheet. Who knows if any of that's true or not? I like dirt sheets because they're like, this guy could be coming in or maybe he won't. Okay. It's a 50-50, so just as much as I do, right? Anyway.
Yeah, it's like when fucking caveman lawyers like, oh, so and so is gonna show up on this show. And when they don't, they're like, well,
plans changed.
When this news got out.
And that's why I always say it. That's why I'm actually more, if I'm going with a dirt sheet, that's why I like Keller better than Meltzer, because Keller actually tends to be a little less goofy and pretentious than Meltzer, honestly.
Yeah.
There was something I was going to say. Oh, I'm sure Jesse's happy because he's here at WCW. He gets to work with Tony again, because from everything I ever understood, Tony and Jesse really liked working together.
Yeah.
Jesse and JR, not so much. But from what I've ever heard, Jesse, like, other than Gorilla, Tony was like his favorite play-by-play guy to work with.
And I like Tony and Jesse together.
I do too. Let's see here. Oh, so yeah, it's going to be Sting and Luger at Super Brawl. The next match is the one that I talked about last week that I couldn't remember if this match was on a Clash or if it was on a pay-per-view. Turns out it is on a Clash. It's Falls Count Anywhere, Cactus Jack versus Van Hammer.
It's Van Hammer's only good match.
His fireworks actually worked when he came. Everything was clicking on all cylinders for old Van Hammer on this night.
Yeah.
His fireworks actually worked when he came out. He got to work with Cactus, who made him look good.
Did he shoot pics or jizz into his face at the beginning of the match?
God damn it, I had just taken a drink when he said that.
Because Tony Schiavone said, "Oh, he just shot pics into his face." But I was like, it looked like jizz. But either way, Cactus didn't enjoy it.
Excuse me. Yes, they, like Aaron said, actually,
This is what the Cactus said. Oh, you know me.
this match is good. I actually like this match. It's mostly because of Cactus, not gonna lie. You know, obviously Cactus is bumping, and this is False Count Anywhere, so this is his jam at the time. I think the crowd thought they were just going to leave him high and dry, because you notice when they fought through the curtain, the crowd was like, boo. Like, I think the crowd.
Yeah, but you watch any of those fucking Falls Count Anywhere matches before the Titantron, every time they get behind the curtain, people are like, boo. Because, like, now we're going to have to try, like, watch this on, like, a TV screen.
That's what's crazy, too, to think about. Like, I know sometimes we get off in the weeds or whatever, but thinking about, like, the advances in technology and stuff over the past years. Like, if you watch SummerSlam '96 and the Boiler Room Brawl.
Yeah, they rolled monitors.
Yeah, they had like TVs around the ring, like big ass like tube TVs around the ring.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you paid $25 for a ticket there, you'd be like, boo.
You gotta watch this on TV.
I gotta watch this like fucking Quigley Down Under when the fucking teacher doesn't show up, so we gotta substitute.
Yeah, they go. Actually, it's funny because since we talked about it last time, we actually already kind of reviewed this match because we talked about everything that happens in it. They leave the arena. They go out back into like a rodeo holding area.
I forgot that Abdullah was dressed like Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, he was. Abdullah in a cowboy hat. But yeah, Abdullah dressed like a cowboy. He's trying to hit Van Hammer with the shit shovel, but he accidentally hits. He started to hit Cactus Jack. I'm sorry. He accidentally.
Yeah, right now.
What's that?
Cactus and Abdullah have broken up by now. He's trying to hit Cactus, but he hits Van Hammer by mistake, and Cactus gets the 1, 2, 3, and then they have a post-match brawl, and my note was, oh, look, Abby got Missy wet.
Ew. Yes, Abby throws Missy Hyatt into a watering trough.
Who has the bigger titties, Abby or Missy?
Well, I think Abby, because Abby, like the parody for the Nation of Domination, got his titties to go all the way around.
Way around to his back.
Like Abby's chest Abby's chest and his back, his upper back are tits.
Is he honestly, and when I say this, I mean it with like, I'm not trying to sound disrespectful, but is he the best worst wrestler ever?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I've talked about it on the show before. When I was a younger man, when I was a kid and stuff, because he wasn't on our TVs and stuff a lot. And when he would be, first of all, like Abdullah the Butcher, when I was a kid, he's the one wrestler that scared me, kind of. And as time went on, I was fascinated by him. He was actually kind of the first wrestler that got me into trying to find stuff of a wrestler that wasn't WWF and WCW, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if I can find some this Abdullah the Butcher in Puerto Rico stuff, if I can just find some of it because I want to see it. He fucking fascinated me. And he's also a wrestler that when I do watch the stuff in Puerto Rico with like Carlos Colon. All right, we had a little issue there, but we're back. Yeah, we were talking about Abdullah the Butcher, and yes, I will say, you said, is he the best bad wrestler ever? I'd say yes, because I put myself in the slot of being a Abdullah the Butcher fan. So
I am too.
And he was Gary Hart's black. So that too. My black Abdullah the Butcher, my Latin Al Perez. So the next match on this show, kind of a nothing match, but it's the Freebirds on look number 17 in their WCW run.
Yeah.
Versus Brad Armstrong and Big Josh.
All four talented people, but not the way they should have been.
I will agree with that wholeheartedly. Big Josh, his run is about to be over. He's going to be in the, well, I don't know. He might be around a little longer. I might be wrong. I'm wrong. He makes it. I think he makes it through most of the rest of 92. I keep getting my, I don't know why, but watching this show, I don't know why. It's fucking January. I don't know why I'm putting it so much later in the year in my brain. But, yeah, this was just a match. The Freebirds win with a double DDT to Brad Armstrong for the win. I don't have any notes on it, so.
I don't either.
Eric Bischoff's back. He introduces us to a video about the Steiner brothers and going through all their trials and tribulations later because Scotty's come back from his injury. And then he interviews the Steiners. And I think this was just kind of a way to reintroduce them because they haven't been, like I said, Scotty's been out with an injury, so they haven't been the Steiner brothers for a good while now.
Yeah, and it was kind of cool, like Ricky saying, these guys stole this shit from us, and like you said, they're reintroducing the Steiner brothers, but they're not going to be there much longer either.
Well, now they are going to have a heck of a 92 though with Doc and Gordy. Gordy and Doc.
Yeah.
So we still got a good year with the Steiners in WCW. They don't go to the WWF till the very end of 92. But yeah, so we're reintroducing them to the audience pretty much. And then we get, and again, much like Richard Morton, even though the York Foundation I don't even think is a thing at this point, they're still calling him Thomas Rich. And it's Tommy Rich versus Vinny Vegas. Kevin Nash repackaged now.
Yeah, this is Vinny Vegas's debut. And it's like, it's stupid because the match isn't stupid because it's two talented people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's stupid because there's somebody like, this is Thomas Rich. So it's like, so this is heel Thomas Rich versus heel Vinny Vegas. Like, why don't you just like, this is Tommy Rich?
Yeah.
And then be fired up, Tommy Rich. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why, and I wrote down actually a question to ask you because I was thinking about my timeline. I know I didn't see Alexandra York on the show, but I was like, I'm pretty sure the York Foundation isn't even a thing anymore. So why are we still
not.
Richard and Thomas, you know?
It's stupid. And the only note that I had was, you know, when Kevin Nash, which spoiler alert, everybody, Vinny Vegas is Kevin Nash. When he goes to hit the snake eyes, you know, like he did like the roll of the dice thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like with his hand, and he did it like up by his face, and then he went bam, like he did a roll, 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 and then like opened his hand up. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
If anybody would have done that and Kevin Nash was watching it, he would have made like a jack off joke about it.
Yes, he would. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, he would totally. Yeah, he would
like
totally.
If anybody else would have done what he did with his hands, he would have been like, "What?" And
Yes,
it would have been 45 minutes about that guy jacking like an air dick off and
yeah, he would have totally click shit on that.
Yeah, but he did it, so it's okay.
It's okay.
But it is what it is. And honestly, if the Vinny Vegas character would have never happened, what we got with Kevin Nash in his career probably would have never happened.
Oh, I agree. I think that
because Vinny Vegas is what caught Shawn Michaels' attention because
mm-hmm.
he was like, this guy's fucking funny.
You know what I think would have happened to Kevin Nash if he would not have caught, like you said, wouldn't have caught the eye of Shawn Michaels. I mean, it also and there were a couple of things. First, catching the eye of Shawn Michaels. Secondly, the Steiners going to the WWF.
Yeah.
Because they were friends with Nash. He would have either probably wound up just being one of those big guys that gets jobbed out in WCW until he doesn't anymore. Or he would have wound up being, and tell me if you think this makes sense, he would have wound up being a guy that wins the belt from Lawler in Memphis and then loses it back to Lawler a couple of weeks later.
Yeah, so I'm saying he would have been nothing.
Because they love to do that in Memphis, you know, just find some big fuck, bring him in, put him under some kind of a mask with a stupid gimmick, have him beat Lawler for the belt, and then Lawler wins the belt back at the Coliseum a couple of weeks later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, again, it helped that he was friends with the Steiners and they went to the Fed, and that, like you said, obviously catching the eye of Shawn Michaels. Hey, bring this guy in to be my heavy. And then Vince McMahon got his eyes on him. One thing I wrote down that I was thinking about during this match, because Vinny Vegas is very close to. Vinny Vegas is the character where Kevin finally got to start showing his personality. And he's very close to like Cocky Diesel or Cocky Big Sexy. And it's crazy to think about. He won the WWF title in late 1994. Is he the greenest guy to ever win the WWF championship? Because he wasn't even 3.5 years into the business, and he's the WWF champion. You know,
When did Kurt win it?
Maybe you're right. Maybe Kurt. But Kurt, I don't know. Kurt was also like an actual wrestler. I guess I don't see him as green, but you're right in a pro wrestling aspect.
I'm not trying to shut on your thought. Well, I'm just like Kurt might be.
Yeah. I guess Yoko too. Yeah, they put the rocket on Yoko pretty quick in his career.
Yeah, but Yoko was AWA before that.
Yeah, that was just a random thought I had that I wrote down.
I think it might be Kurt.
Because Kurt started, he got into Power Pro.
And we're talking about WWF. We're just talking about WWF,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Because
to be the WWF World's Champion, yes.
I think it might be Kurt. It's just champion in general. It's probably Paul White, but
yeah, no, champion in general. It's definitely Paul White.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Aaron said, Vegas wins this match with Thomas Rich with a Snake Eyes. Then we get another Eric Bischoff interview as he interviews Paulie Dangerously about the main event matches coming up tonight involving the Dangerous Alliance. And essentially, Paulie says, these matches tonight, we're just progressing our plan to destroy WCW from within. And he promises that one of the faces, he doesn't say faces, but one of your heroes will be put out tonight by the Dangerous Alliance.
Yes.
And they have moved away since the last time we had a show. They've moved away from Anderson and Zbyszko as the Enforcers being the tag team champions, or the big tag team, because on I think the last show we did, they lost it to Steamboat and Dustin.
Yes.
And now Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton are the tag team champions. And I wrote down here, is it a possibility that even though it happened for a very short amount of time, Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton are technically one of the best tag teams to ever exist?
Yes. And I also put that the 6-man match that we're about to see is Arn Anderson, Bobby Eaton, and Larry Zbyszko versus Dustin Rhodes, Ron Simmons, and Barry Windham. And it is like talent overload.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my fucking God. What is happening? Like, there's no way this is going to be bad. And I didn't want to overstep what you were saying, but Anderson and Eaton were one of the best tag teams ever. And they are probably in my top 4 list of best tag team wrestlers ever. It's like Anderson, Eaton, Owen, and I'm trying to think maybe who the 4th would be. Sorry, but those would be my top 3. Would be Arn Anderson, and not in any order, but Arn Anderson, Bobby Eaton, Owen Hart. Are in my opinion, the top 3 best tag team wrestlers ever.
The match itself, actually, and the other thing I like about the match, other than it just being a great match, is I like the fact that they're still telling the story. And I like simple things in wrestling. I like simple stories in wrestling. the Jerry Jarrett thing, what is it? Personal problems make great rivalries or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, just the simple things in wrestling sometimes are the best. And I like that the story in this match is Barry Windham probably shouldn't be wrestling because the hand is still hurt. But he's the fired up babyface, And I also wrote down Barry Windham is the guy. He's the example of how, because, a lot of times people talk about, they bring up Luger and they bring up Paul White in the fact that they turn those two guys too much, babyface heel,
Yeah.
Windham is an example of how that's a good thing because Barry Windham turns a lot in his career, but every time he does it, it's almost like it's not something they're doing out of necessity because they just need a heel or they need a face. Every time he turns babyface or heel, there is a real story involved in it,
Yeah. His character turns when somebody does some shit to him.
Mm-hmm.
And this is his last, and I don't want to say it like I'm knocking anything after it, but in ring wise and in shape wise, this is his last great year.
I can agree with that.
Like when he shows back up in '93, WCW, he's fat, and then when he becomes a stalker, it is what it is. And then he's a blackjack, and then the NWA shit, and then he gets good again when he winds up back with like Kurt in like '99, but it's still not the Barry Windham of like
No.
87 to 92.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree because I always think to myself, and I know there was a point where he was the NWA champion and he had a match with Muta that is what it is, but I always think in my head about Barry Windham as like the last great, and we're going to get to it eventually, but the last great thing that I recall of Barry Windham was the turn on Dustin and the feud with Dustin.
Yeah.
And after that, it's all, either he's a secondary guy or the stalker or a blackjack or, it's just, I don't know. After that, like, it's almost like he should have retired in 93.
Yeah. So I don't have a lot of notes for this match because it's just 6 great workers doing their thing. So, sorry, I had a couple questions that I wrote down. And one of the questions was, do you think, because Vince, if what Dustin and Dusty say is true, when Dustin was in WWF, when they had their match with Virgil and Ted DiBiase,
Yeah.
and Dusty was leaving, Vince didn't want Dustin to leave. And he told Dusty, he's like, I know your boy's got to go, but just remember, I'm going to get him, or just realize I'm going to get him back later. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to come back here. So Vince, if you take that story to be true, Vince saw the talent of Dustin Rhodes.
Right.
Right? Do you think if Vince wouldn't have thought of the Goldust character for Dustin and just brought him in as the natural Dustin Rhodes in a WWF, that he would have had the run that he had?
Okay, so can I take your question and take it in a different direction just for a second?
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons Vince really liked Dustin was because we all know, anybody that knows, anybody that watched, anybody that has seen anything or heard anything, even though Hulk Hogan was the guy that Vince went with, Vince McMahon was a gigantic fan of Dusty Rhodes, baby.
Yeah.
Like when Dusty's in there with Billy Graham and doing those interviews and stuff, and like it's very rare that you watch Vince McMahon and you'd see him
Mark
being a
out for
fan.
somebody.
Yes, you see him being a fan. I think, and I'll take your question. If we'll say the natural, I think Vince would have made. Yes, first of all, I do think Vince would have made the natural work in the WWF, because if Vince is a fan of someone, as we've seen with a John Cena or a Roman Reigns, he's going to push it till you fucking like it. But the other thing is, I think that Vince's intention for trying to keep Dustin when Dusty went back to WCW was essentially to continue, because Dustin at that time looked and sounded and wrestled so much like his dad. I bet Vince thought, I could just keep this American Dream thing going with the kid. You know what I mean? And you just got, I don't know if he could be the American Dream, but you just have Dustin essentially playing Dusty on WWF TV. Would Dustin have gone for that? I don't know. Because he's always talked about trying to get out of his dad's shadow.
Yeah.
Which is why he was keen to do Goldust. But I think Vince McMahon, no matter what, would have made Dustin work, because I think he was a fan of Dusty and he saw Dusty in Dustin, if that makes sense.
All right. And then the second question I have is about Larry Zbyszko, because in one of JR's books, I can't remember which one it was, but I read that, like, when he was talent relations, he floated the idea of trying to sign Larry in like late 97, early 98 to come over to the WWF, not as a worker, but as like a commentator.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think if that would have happened, Larry Zbyszko would have worked in like the Attitude Era commentary of WWF? Because I honest to God, he was fantastic in WCW.
You know what? I don't know. I don't think so. And the reason I say that is because, and I don't know if this is I hope this makes sense when I say it. The WWF, I'm just taking the Attitude Era. So we're talking about 97, 98, 99, etc. The
That's
Monday night, the Monday Night War era. Tell me if this makes sense when I say it. The WWF broadcast team broadcasted in 3 times the speed that the WCW broadcast team did.
Oh yeah, but no, obviously.
Yeah, and I think I'm like you. I love Larry Zbyszko as a color commentator, but
WCW was a sports presentation.
Yeah, I don't know that Larry Zbyszko would have worked in the Attitude Era style of commentary. No, I'm not.
How's Larry
him.
Zbyszko going to talk about golf and his whatever when fucking Trish Stratus is fucking twerking?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't work for me.
No, I totally agree. He wouldn't have fit. He probably would have fit in like 91, 92, 93.
Yeah.
With like Sean Mooney and Lord Alfred Hayes, you know what I mean? And Gorilla and stuff, but no, not with JR and Lawler and Michael Cole, and no way. It was just boom, 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 boom. WWF commentary was just rapid fire.
Yeah, Zbyszko wouldn't have worked. I just know I read that at some point that Jim Ross floated the idea and tried to get Zbyszko to jump over.
The 6-man match, like we said, it's a really good match. Wyndham wrestles, like I wrote down here. The story, kind of the main story of the match is Barry Windham's still injured, but he's wrestling because he wants to get his revenge on the Dangerous Alliance for breaking the hand. He winds up pinning Bobby Eaton for the win in the match. Did you have any other notes on the match itself, or?
Nope.
So we go into a backstage segment with Tony Schiavone interviewing Barry Windham. Of course, Ron Simmons and Dustin are there, but the main interview is Barry Windham talking about how he's back. They tell me I shouldn't be wrestling, but I can't wait. I'm coming back to kick ass. And then he essentially says, Larry Zbyszko, you're number one on my hit list because you're the one that slammed the door on my hand at Halloween Havoc.
Yep.
Then we get Jim Ross discussing the main event with Jesse Ventura, and they're actually going to be the commentators for the main event. This is Jesse's first match that he's calling in WCW.
Before we get into their match, or the match that the main event, I should say. I know we got like Gordon Soley, Lance Russell, Gorilla Monsoon, whatever. But from like, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but from like 1986 to like 2002, are these guys the most over announcers of all time?
Ross and Jesse?
Yeah. Not as a team. I'm just saying individually.
86 to 9. The only other person I would say most over as far as an announcer goes would be Heenan. But that's definitely your triple threat of like as far as most over with the fans.
But Heenan was also a manager.
Right.
I'm just saying just straight up just announcer.
Probably. I can't think of anybody else. Because Vince McMahon's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just like you said, we'll take Bobby out of the equation because he's also a manager, so he's like double duty kind of guy. So just an announcer, obviously Jesse, and then the wrestling fans in the era. Obviously for our era, for our generation of wrestling fans.
Anytime you try to put somebody other than JR in there, you're like, fuck it, I don't want to hear it.
Jim Ross is, for our generation, Jim Ross is our Gordon Soley.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I was talking to my daughter and her husband the other day, and because anyway, we're talking and I brought something up about like Hulk Hogan, and it's as crazy as it sounds like, and I think about it today. I think about these things sometimes about generation and time. And, I bring it up a lot on the show, time. Hulk Hogan dying was nothing to them. Because in their life,
John Cena would die tomorrow. Like, what?
And they're not even big wrestling fans, but you're right. Like, they aren't a generation that was attached to Hulk Hogan, Like Hulk Hogan just to them, he's like Lou Thez to us. Like, oh yeah, he was a great wrestler, but they didn't have an attachment to him. Or Bruno. I didn't have a big attachment to Bruno. I know how great he was. I know what he meant to the business. But anyway, I don't know what one of them said, and I said, yeah, something about through a table or whatever. And you know what? You know who they brought up? They were like, yeah, Michael Cole would say. Michael Cole, he's their generation's Jim Ross, and Jim Ross was our generation's Gordon. So it's like, oh my God, time marches on, man. They know Michael Cole. He's their voice of professional wrestling.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, to me, that like,
I know we got in the weeds on your question, but
like that's the reason I brought it up was like, man, I wish these guys would have got along.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because like, imagine like Jim Ross and Jesse Ventura. To me, those guys to me And I love Gorilla Monsoon. Okay, don't get me wrong. But to me, Jim Ross is the commentator, play-by-play voice of my entire, like, I still love wrestling now, but he's the voice of my generation of, like, play-by-play babyface commentating.
Yeah.
But all the, like, memories I have of just, and I love Lawler too, so don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying, like, Ventura's the voice of all that shit, the flip side of it
Mm-hmm.
for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, man, if these guys would have just got along, it might have been the greatest commentating team of all time, and we just didn't get it.
Yeah, it doesn't help that they didn't get along, and then within a year of the fact that they could have eventually formed a chemistry, JR's gone, and he's off
Yeah.
to the WWF, and what could have been.
Yeah.
Our main event, another Dangerous Alliance combination, ravishing Rick Rude, the United States champion, teaming with stunning Steve Austin, the television champion, against Sting and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So let me say that again.
All right.
Ravishing Rick Rude and Steve Austin against Sting and Ricky Steamboat. This had no way it was going to be bad.
Yeah. And I would watch Steve and Steamer wrestle every day.
Yeah. Steamboat, in my opinion, I know, there's like spectacles with The Rock and shit, but Steamboat is my favorite Austin opponent only behind Brett. Like, I love to, me, it's Austin and Brett all the way, but Steamboat is, if I'm looking at Austin's whole career, Steamboat is second behind if I'm going to watch a Steve Austin match. Steamboat and Austin, Steamboat and Brett.
And Steamer is right up there with Rick Morton about being one of the best babyface sellers ever. And Rude is one of my favorite heels of all time. And I love Sting. There's just, for some reason, and I'm not going to say that I disliked the match. Part of it might have been how short it was, but it's like, I thought this match was going to be better than it was.
Well, you see all these guys come to the ring, and you think that but see, here's my thing, and here's where I'll defend it, and here's where I'll say why it probably happened to you. If you have Sting and Steamboat against Austin and Rude, they need 15 minutes just to get cooking.
Yeah.
And this match was like 12 minutes long. They only had so much TV time. I bet if this would have been on pay-per-view and they got a half an hour, it would have been everything you thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. I don't know.
It was great. Don't get me wrong, but it just didn't do what I wanted it. Like, it's like the post-match angle was better than the match.
Mm-hmm. I really liked the finish, though. I thought the finish was creative because in the finish, Austin goes to body slam Rick Rude because, or not Rick Rude, I'm sorry, Ricky Steamboat, because Sting and Rude had fought to the outside. Steamboat and Austin were the legal men, and Austin looks like he has the advantage on Steamboat. He's going to give him a body slam, and Sting high cross bodies off the top rope into Steamboat's back, and then they pin Austin. I thought it was a creative finish.
Yeah. Yeah, the match itself, like I said, was really solid, and I enjoyed it, but I just wish there would have been more to it. Like, How about we don't have the fucking PN News DDP match and give this thing like 6 or 7 more minutes?
You're not going to hear any arguments from me. And then, like you said, we get chaos after the match. Everything breaks down.
And shit, sorry. But Rude hits like 2 Rude Awakenings on was it Steamboat?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we're gonna see on the next. I don't know when the next Clash of the Champions is.
It's
I don't know
June
what the date of
16th,
it.
so it's like 6 months after this.
So we might not see it, but the Rude Steamboat feud, excuse me, in WCW is one of the most gritty, realistic feuds that company ever did. So I'm kind of hoping we see some of it, but I doubt we will.
I don't
But
think
like,
so, because I'm just looking ahead I was looking ahead just to see the next Clash. Like I said, it's in June, and it is mostly that NWA World Tag Championship tournament.
nah. Then maybe when we're done with Clash, we can maybe focus in on like.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. That would be a bad idea. Maybe have from time to time do a like quote unquote a rivalries show.
Yeah.
Where we could just, all get together and cover, maybe invite Kyle or whoever wants to come in and maybe talk about a rivalry,
Yeah,
But
from this feud, like the start of the feud to the end of the feud.
mm-hmm.
But Rude and Steamboat's WCW feud at this point was really fucking good. This is that one, where like Rude fucking cracked the shit out of him with the chair.
Mm-hmm.
And Paulie brings out like 2 different women to say that Steamboat cheated on Bonnie with this one and that. It's a great fucking feud. Great fucking feud. But anyway.
But yeah, we have all the insanity at the end of the show, and then we come back. Jim Ross and Jesse Ventura wrap up the show. Plugs Super Brawl. Jesse plugs that he's going to be calling his first full show for World Championship Wrestling at Super Brawl. And actually, like every time that we do one of these, we do the whole: did we go down? Did we stay static, or did we go up? And for the first time in a few clashes, instead of saying we stayed static, overall, I thought this show took a step forward.
I agree.
From the last clash.
I think the Dangerous Alliance era of WCW is the best era of WCW. It's not their most profitable. Mm-hmm. The NWO was, but I'll say the Dangerous Alliance is over the NWO.
Listen, my most favoritist, my honest to God, and I think it's a wrestling fan versus a mainstream thing. Honest to God, 99.9% of the time, my favorite eras of a promotion are not when it's financially successful, because it's about wrestling fans instead of the mainstream. Like I'm not gonna, honest to God, I'm not gonna go back and watch a lot of the fucking Attitude Era a lot of the time, because I loved living through it. But when I watch it in hindsight, I don't like a lot of it. Like I'm just like, I'm like Raven. I'm like, meh.
Yeah. I still like it because I was fucking 14, 15
I
years
like
old.
it. No. I'm not shitting on it. It's not that I don't like it, but I am so much more, honest to God, I am so much more likely to go back and watch shit from like 95 and 96 and 97 than I am
too.
Anything.
I'm watching 96 or Superstars right now, and I just watched like the fucking Pug. It's like, oh, that's fun. You know, it's like I'm much rather gonna watch. I'm more shouldn't say much rather. I don't know if that makes that's not a word, but like I enjoy more watching the Pug versus fucking Radford more than like watching Meat. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no
But I'm not
shit.
gonna say that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that I don't enjoy watching the fucking Attitude Era.
No. And again, I
'Cause
wasn't saying
I still enjoy it.
yeah, but I'm just when I'm going back and watching things again, I'm definitely not like WWF 1999 is on the bottom of my list of what I'm going to rewatch. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Anything
I
99
get it.
actually is on the bottom. But
Well,
anyway,
it's kind of like what you were just saying right there. It's like I'd rather watch WCW 1992 more than
mhm,
I'd rather watch WCW 1997.
mhm. I get it. Totally get it. All right, well, we're going to sign off. Thanks for your patience with no show last week. We're back in action now here on the We Can't Wrestle podcast. Next week, it'll be Clash of the Champions 19, Charleston, South Carolina. And like I said, I'm looking here, and it looks like it's pretty much the NWA Tag Team Championship tournament matches.
So Bill Watts.
Yeah, Bill Watts is going to be around by this time.
Yeah.
And then Clash 20 is the one where they have like, I think it's at center stage, and isn't that the one Andre shows up at? Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll continue our Clash of the Champions series next week. Again, as I always say, you can check out the show on YouTube. If you're listening audio and you prefer to listen to or check out your podcasts on YouTube, feel free to subscribe to the WNR Podcast Network on YouTube. Join us in the Facebook group, WNR Podcast Network, of course, on Facebook. It's Facebook. It's a
Iceberg.
It's the
Derp.
it's
Derp.
it's the face derp. And that's it. So, Aaron, unless you have anything else to say, we're going to sign the fuck off here.
All right. It's probably best we do because I don't know what that's just.
I think I might have had a stroke. And I haven't.
Yeah.
Does anybody else smell burnt toast? We'll see you next week, everybody, on the We Can't Wrestle podcast.